I'm sure that journalists in other countries might be like, gosh, you Nigerians, you're so lucky, the way politicians talk to you. Most politicians might feel, you have to be very careful what you say, because once it's out there, it's out there. And there's something called the money quote, where a journalist hears a line and immediately they know that's the headline. And welcome back to Good Morning Nigeria. Now, we recently discussed what many people deemed as good news, that the federal government, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, would be offering a bailout deal to bankrupt states so that they could pay their unpaid salaries. But with reports that some states have only received half, while others haven't received any funds at all, what's happening? Still sticking to Europe. Now, often when we like to think of politicians and think of corruption, unfortunately, a lot of our minds turn straight to Africa. But this does happen outside of Africa. It happens in Europe. It happens in the UK as well. Still watching Good Morning Nigeria, and we have the final paper here, Vanguard, Ekweremadu, police storm NAS. How we robbed Ikorodu bank suspects. We've taken that story already. And the big story on all of the papers today, unpaid salaries. Buhari okays 804.7 billion naira lifeline for states. Before we look at how the situation will be, is going to be fixed, and it's not surprising that loans have come into the picture. We must understand how these states found themselves in this predicament in the first place, as you just said, in order to know, if is it corruption? Is it a mismanagement of funds? What exactly is the problem, to know, so we can know? It's not just, are they going to be continuously bailed out here? Are we going to have to be talking about Greece and Nigeria simultaneously now?
Seriously.
So we need to know how this happened and how it can be prevented. Approximately 3,000 people commit suicide every single day around the world, which amounts to roughly 1 million deaths every year. Now, these shocking figures represent a global mortality rate of 1 death every 40 seconds. But it's predicted by 2020, the rate of death by suicide could increase to 1 every 20 seconds. You're definitely in a better place than you were before. If you could go back in time and speak to, Halima of before, that was in a very dark place, what advice would you give yourself before you made that decision that I want to end my life? We're in Lagos right now, the hustle and bustle, it can be very stressful. What's the difference between you? You can speak to a lot of people that might say, at the end of the day, they just start feeling, can I do this? Am I living up to, what my family expect me to live up to? They might it might be labeled as depressed thoughts. How do you know when you've now stepped over the mark of what is perhaps considered normal stress and you're now into you might need medical help now? Such a high prevalence of hepatitis B in the country. Can all blame solely lie on, the individuals not being able to, recognize if they might have hepatitis B? I can't help but thinking some responsibility lies with the doctors themselves being able, to test more people with hepatitis B, or is that an unfair observation? I spoke to some celebrities that felt like we'll never get a tattoo done in Nigeria. They feel they have to go abroad. Why do you feel people believe you can't get a good, safe tattoo in Nigeria? But what tattoo regulation do we have here in Nigeria? I'm Eno Alfred. Join me again next week for another episode of 30 Minutes on Cool TV.